Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is going to be part two of learning to know thyself. So, in today's lessons, we're going to learn very easy, very simple daily meditation, um, and then we'll go from there. But before I begin that, I want to emphasize that visualization is everything. And I know that a lot of people have a lot of trouble with that, and that's why they don't want to bother with meditation. Um, but meditation really is the key to so many things. It's the key to you learning how to truly manifest and create the reality around you that you want. It's the and that includes how healthy you are, right? How well you are, how well balanced you are, mind, body, and spirit. Um, Meditation is the difference between how connected you are to spirit or source or God or whatever you want to call it in the universe and etc. It also deepens your ability to come from a higher place of understanding and compassion for others. So for me, meditation is a really important thing for all of you to learn and at least do a daily practice on it for now. And I know that some of you are probably thinking, oh, well, I'm way past that. I know how to meditate. I can do this, this, and this. And I'm way beyond the beginner stuff and yada, yada. But I want to ask all of you that think that, are you truly manifesting and creating the reality that you want? Or are you still walking in fear and worry and sadness? Now, I'm a well-versed meditator. I'm a well-versed healer. I'm a well-versed creator. And I still have to remind myself to come back home to ground zero, to the beginning, and do those simple steps again for myself in order to stay connected, stay grounded, and continue to remember how to manifest my own reality. And we're all human. We all get busy with life, or we think we're past that level, right? And then we forget to do this simple, basic meditation. We forget, you know, I personally, my version of meditation in the hustle and the bustle of life, when I get caught up in it, is simply to just go sit in nature and still my mind completely. I'm not focused on me. I'm not focused on my health, my happiness, my reality. I'm focused on just clearing my mind because my daily life, I focus on everyone else, right? I mean, I often tell my friends, like, I can tell you if you're sick, oh, go make an onion poultice and put it on your chest. Or, oh, take some mullein tincture or whatever. I mean, like, I can recommend that for my friends, but I don't remember to do it for myself. And I make the stuff, right? Like, I make those things. They're readily available in my own home. But I won't think about myself for those things. I don't remember them. I mean, I'm rarely sick and I rarely need them. And maybe that's part of why. But still, I'm not thinking about it for me. And then my friends will say to me, well, don't you have this and that? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I do. But I didn't even think about it for me. So we forget to go back to those basics, right? We get so busy and caught up in other things that we forget the basics. So even the advanced meditators, I want you to listen to this, remember this, come back home to it, give it a try for a week, you know, see what difference it makes in your life because it can make a world of difference, literally. Now, back to this visualizing. I want you to practice visualizing any opportunity you get. I want you to practice it if you're having trouble with it until it's so easy for you that you can think an image and boom, it's there. right? So how do we do that? How do we practice visualization? Well, we would use our other five senses. That's how we would do it. So, okay, for example, let's start with try to visualize an apple. Okay, get the image of the apple in your mind. What does that apple taste like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like when you bite into it? Right? Think about all of those senses. Okay. Now, you should be able to do that easily because you know everything about that apple. All right. So practice with that apple first. Start simple. I love the KISS principle. Keep it simple, sweetheart. So practice with that apple first, and then get crazy with it. Get creative. Cross-pollinate that apple with a grape. Okay. You know what a grape tastes like, feels like, smells like, sounds like when you bite into it, etc. You know what the apple tastes like, smells like, feels like, looks like, right? Now, what would they taste like and look like and smell like and sound like, etc. if you created a grapple, a grape apple? Practice that for a while. If that one's too difficult, practice seeing yourself in a serene garden. It can be any kind of garden: flower garden, butterfly garden, bird garden, vegetable garden. See yourself sitting next to a river or a creek. What does that look like? What does it sound like? What's it feel like? Right? What's it smell like? Think about all of your senses. And little by little, try to add more things to the scenery in your mind. And that's very good, easy ways to practice visualizing, because visuals are everything if you want to manifest or heal. You need to learn how to do that. Okay? So I'm going to go back to excerpts from my book, which, by the way, in the very beginning of it, of the meditation portion, excuse me, there will be the information for the visuals if you're interested in the book later on. So for daily meditation, 5 steps. The first, I want you to focus your ration and your passion upon the areas of intellectual and spiritual development. Visualize yourself freely receiving the light and becoming one with the universal consciousness. See yourself learning, developing your mind to include all the creative tools which allow the spirit to sing freely. Visualize what the outcomes of such self-development would look like and feel like. They could be travel, exploration, adventure, physical, mental, and or spiritual. Become completely caught up in the images and the feelings until spiritual resonance and completion is experienced and the event has occurred. Completion is when the joyous emotional energy peaks and the gratitude envelops the image. When this vision is complete, send it forth like a balloon into the heavens or on the wings of a dove, and clear it from your mind. Step 2. Next, envision the life mission. This is about spiritual expression once certain development has been obtained. This is the destiny path upon which you have embarked by designing this specific incarnation. If you do not yet know what your mission is, then focus upon a general completion of it without specifics. Feel the fulfillment of a complete and satisfied spirit that has completed their destiny path. Feel that emotion. And in time, as you notice opportunities and you act upon them, your mission is going to unfold to you. If you already know, then focus upon exactly what that mission would look like and feel like without any limitations whatsoever placed upon what you can actually accomplish and will accomplish and do accomplish. You need to see it as the future, the present, and the past. See it, feel it as the past already. You've already been there. You've already accomplished it. Beliefs regarding limitations of time or of resources, of opportunity, or your self-ability often arise in this area, but not so much during this altered, relaxed state of consciousness. Your spirit honors no such limitations, and its wisdom is much more clear in this space. So visualize as if there is no limitation and energize this image with feeling, because emotion is everything. It's what makes us creators. Third, envision the professional accomplishments that are desired. This can be in any chosen field or aspired direction where one makes a living as well as accomplishes spiritual expression. Visualize specific events as well as long-term outcomes that will clarify the intention, communicate, and manifest the desired events. If there is not yet a professional direction, education often can be a good substitute. And education can come in many forms. I highly recommend that if you feel that you need one, find yourself a mentor. And I also highly recommend that you spend some type of money toward your mentors, not for the mentor's sake necessarily, but for your own. Because I'm learning that when people don't have to use their money, they don't value it as much. So take some of your hard-earned money, even if it's just $5, and put it towards a mentorship program. There's plenty of them that take donations. Give of yourself in order to improve and better yourself. Because without that monetary payment, for some strange reason, I guess we're just wired that way, we don't value it as much. We don't appreciate it as much. We don't work as hard toward it as much. It was easy come, easy go, as they say. Okay? And this is something that you cannot put any amount of money on. It's so valuable. So treat it that way. Treat it as the value that it truly is. And give what you can. But find a mentor to work with you, to guide you. Whether it's me or someone else. It's the best thing you'll ever do for yourself. I speak from experience. Okay. So, um, education can come in many forms. So this need not be a salaried position. It can include home parenting, volunteerism, and such action that contributes to an overall focus of life energy. It can be creating a salaried position out of one's desired interests. The key here in this area is to capture an outlet for creativity and to not include any limitations in the vision. The sky is not even the limit. Step 4. When completion is attained, the fourth area of focus is upon the material desires. This is your financial expectations, as well as specific accoutrements, like a house, a car, a particular book, a piece of clothing, etc. Anything that feels desirable is worth shooting for. Specific artifacts can be quite pleasing to the unique aesthetic or tone of the spirit. There are no rights or wrongs, simply what is pleasing to spirit. This is a silly and limiting, even manipulative belief that there are right and wrongs. This belief was originally promoted to gain compliance and control over people who might otherwise fight for their rights. So please don't allow it to limit you. Envision in great detail a life filled with all the financial abundance and material items spiritually desired. Again, enveloping this image in joyous gratitude. Step 5. The next area of focus is that of physical health and vitality. This is the area wherein specific body goals and maintenance can be truly empowered, as well as healing and transformation. Focus empowered emotional energy upon any specific area of concern can prove to be of tremendous benefit. Envisioning peak performance of all bodily systems and experiencing gratitude for the incredible physical form can help counteract the barrage of negative and limiting human knowledge, quote unquote knowledge. Be sure to envision the correct balance between an underactive and an overactive immune system. Underactive would be like for cancer prevention. Overactive would be like for an allergic reaction, as examples in the immune system. If it is underactive, envision little killer cells attacking that which is not self and keeping things tidy and in order. If it's overactive, tame those killer cells by showing them that which is self, which may have caused allergic response. Remember, this system thinks everything inside the body and mind is self and should be preserved, fighting against foreign invaders only. Foodstuffs or other allergens should be embraced as self and enveloped in emotional joy to communicate and authorize your acceptance of them. Be very specific and, of course, empower those visions with joyous gratitude. There lies much undiscovered power in this area, but one caution is offered here. Do not be disappointed or discouraged if dramatic, miraculous results are not immediately achieved. This is not instant gratification. This takes dedication. This takes you becoming completely convinced, for lack of a better way to say it, in the belief that you are this powerful, that you have this control. And sometimes that takes time because you have to unlearn and unbelieve specific dogmas or religious structures, okay? Even social constraints. This is the area where the most enduring and hard to dismiss beliefs reside. Indeed, years of human energy have been invested in them for sure. As individual and as mass consciousness expands to understand the energy dynamics of the human body, mind, health, and vitality will be far less elusive. Once you've achieved these steps, I want you to next focus upon relationship. This is a prime area to satisfy the connection needs of spirit, as well as general development and expression. If a primary relationship exists, such as a life mate, a husband, a wife, then it can be envisioned in its ideal form. If not, one can be created in which such mate would be attracted into one's experience. Problems can be addressed and clarified in face-to-face meetings with loved ones or workmates. Psychic communication between parents and children is quite beneficial also. This need not be limited to the realm of the living either. If there exist issues that evoke negative emotions regarding departed loved ones, recent grief, or old issues that can be settled with face-to-face conversations, regardless of whether or not that entity is currently focused in the physical reality or not. Envision an interaction which discloses the hurt feelings and evokes an apologetic or explanatory response. This can replace the resentment with compassion and forgiveness. Allowing emotional release and an attitude change to occur. No limits to the imagination are necessary. Simply empower the vision with joy and gratitude. These categories should cover the main areas of one's life, but it is recommended to tailor and personalize your meditation, making it your own. It also helps to envision a special, relaxed, and beautiful nature place in which you can mentally escape to perform such meditation practices. This can be a real place or any combination of geographic features and natural beauty that invokes spiritual peace and resonance within your soul. Be as creative as you can be. No limit exists in your imagination. In addition to this meditation, which I recommend doing immediately upon awakening, if possible, the effect can be bolstered by being repetitive during the day or even in the evening. Deep breathing is key. After 5 deep connected breaths, you will feel more calm in the mind and settle into a similar relaxed and receptive consciousness state that is necessary to meditate. About 5 breaths is all it takes. The more creative energy the visions receive, the sooner they will begin to actually manifest into your life. So get to work, right? Now, next, I want to talk about the meditation clock. This meditation is known as the meditation of the clock. It can be envisioned with each category likened to a number on the clock. Intellectual development can be at number 4, your mission at number 2, your profession at 12, material desires at 10, health at number 8, and relationships at number 6. Having a visual format such as this can make it easier to manage and ensure that each major life area is allotted attention and focus and energy. This exercise can give you mental clarity. Perhaps you will be surprised to realize how many goals you actually have and didn't really think about. Do not worry if the goals seem incompatible with one another. Simply dismiss any limiting ideas that arise. Worry will be an important feedback clue later on to see how well you actually did at dismissing them. Simply declare that which you desire. The clarity will allow you to get acquainted with your needs and how they manifest in your life. You will also be able to determine a great deal about your beliefs when starting from this place of clarity. For now, your spirit has something to work on and to relate to your experience. And now you know exactly what your spirit is addressing through your communicative feeling senses. It is almost impossible to gain much from this exercise without focus and clarity. It would be like writing a letter to someone without an idea of what it is that you wanted to convey to them. Of course, every letter has to begin with an intent. Often what we say doesn't clarify itself until we begin the process. So for the best results, begin. Create your manifestation clock. And I actually have a diagram of it that I'll show you. And maybe I'll post all of those too, just so that it'll be in the description box. Excuse me. Okay, so this is an example that shows the clock at 4 o'clock, and that is for your health. That's where your health would be written in on your clock, and any piece of paper will do. Let me just get a sip real quick. Okay. So this is the daily feedback section. Daily feedback is important. Once you have begun the daily meditation, you will be ready to watch for feedback from the spirit. It will seek balance between your desires and your outcomes, your internal and external worlds, between your spiritual intention and your physical experience, and it will signal whenever corrections are necessary. This is simply the old-fashioned feedback system that alerts you through your feelings when you are straying off course. When you drive a car down the highway, you see with your visual sense when you are moving too close to the boundaries of your travel lane, and you automatically move the steering wheel to the degree necessary to keep you on your path. Eventually, you reach your destination, although you may exercise the option of pulling off the path for some need or adventure. So it is with the life process. Our instincts guide us along safe passage, while encouraging us to interrupt the boredom of the trip. My birds are talking too. Now it knows how you want to meet your needs, and it will do its best to bring about every desired result. But it will only have the freedom that your mind has afforded it. It will only have the mental tools of beliefs, the gems and the slivers contained therein. It can only operate upon your existing level of self-development. It will try to achieve your goals in the existing environment. To succeed, it will require mental skills enough to overcome external challenges, and it will most surely bump into your limiting beliefs, for it will create exactly that which you believe most strongly will happen to you, good or bad. You will feel the nudges of spirit when some event is not within your spirit's desire. They're quiet when I'm quiet. So for a moment, I would like for you to imagine a carpenter trying to build a house with only a chisel and a saw. There might be some tasks that he could do with ease, such as cutting the lumber and notching it to fit it in place. However, without the hammer and the nails, this task would be most difficult. When tools are like beliefs, we sometimes willingly elect to do a task in the most difficult way because we choose to deprive ourselves of those tools that, if acquired, would make the building of our lives so much easier. Whether or not you do a daily meditation, your spirit already attempts to create the reality you envision, working within your mental boundaries. But mostly, this is unconscious, and fear and anger and guilt are the primary creative feelings. So be very careful. They can achieve certain levels of expression beyond preservation, but they can also empower scenarios and attract events exactly opposite to those that are truly desired. The Creator allows this so that eventually humans will make the connection between what they reap and what they sow, between direction of the will into beliefs and the outcomes that they produce. Now, of course, is the time to understand the creative, communicative power of human feeling and to harness it forevermore. I'm sorry, my birds have me tickled. So let's suppose that up until now, whenever you drove your vehicle, you were in a sort of half-crazed state, angry and generally upset with the world around you. You would manage to get to certain places, but would be very tense in the process and would broadcast that tenseness to the passengers in your vehicles, others on the road, most of whom would share your state of mind. There would be minor and sometimes even major accidents when the environment became too crowded or too hectic. Systems would have to be created to correct the consequences of those accidents, and eventually those systems would become dependent upon the confusion that created this consequential environment. Now that you know what the feelings mean and how to respond to them, they can finally do their job. And they will most certainly arise now that your intentions have clearly been offered. Any belief, attitude, or developmental limitation that stands between you and your envisioned goal will signal a negative emotion so that it can be removed. As you go about your daily business, closely attuned to your emotions and what they are saying regarding your stated goals. Emotions need no longer be the unpredictable acquaintances we are aware of, but elect not to totally trust. As we come to recognize their value in our lives, we will begin to be more comfortable with them. That will lead to a greater level of awareness and reliance. Eventually, they will become our lifelong companions. Your feelings will spring from your actions into the external world and how successful they are at meeting your inner needs. As soon as you experience any emotion, stop and analyze the situation. There will be an imbalance or obstruction of some sort, even in the internal mental realm or in the external physical realm. The feeling will signal this fact and motivate you to react correctively, with either internal, developmental, or external, defensive, or expressive responses. Of course, you know now that you don't really want mere self-preservation. So watch for those auto defenses. Sometimes the best signals to the misdirection of an action are the seemingly unexpected obstructions that arise between ourselves and our intended goal. If we heed these signals, We take a second look at the goal and or the process by which we are intending to achieve it. Good feelings signal situations and underlying beliefs which support and add to your goals. Remember, all feelings signal imbalance between mind and spirit, but this type of imbalance is the kind humans like and are motivated to create as often as possible. This is the imbalance that says, this is working, not just adequately, but wonderfully. What you are thinking and doing is bringing even more spiritual expression than you expected. So keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. At this point, you've connected with pure joy. Considering all the years of past habits of thought, you may feel somewhat uncomfortable with this state, but hang in there. It will pass, and you will actually become a very joyful person, to the point of being disconcerting to those around you. Pay little attention to that. You have a responsibility now to spread the joy. Goodness, are you done? Are you done? Lavender, bluey. Okay. Correcting this imbalance is easy. It will be some sort of developmental or expressive approach. This can be accomplished by making right responses or mental updates in acknowledgement of the good progress, bolstering successful strategies, relationships, skills, and belief, and even broadening and expanding your goals. This naturally bolsters self-esteem and confidence, resulting in faith toward overcoming future challenges. This is true empowerment. Life responses, verbal and physical expressions, in which further skill and success can be offered to and received from others, are also effective behaviors in honor of positive emotional signals. They reap many fulfilling rewards. Like a train moving from a crawl to its normal speed, once one senses the acceleration of the motion, and after adjusting to this feeling, begins to enjoy and find it quite comfortable. First, last, and always, one is in total control, both in exercising one's free will and in creating one's own reality. All other signals will be bad feelings which call for other, more urgent corrections. These feelings are your spirit saying, if you truly want this to happen, then why are you believing or doing this? Or if you truly want this to happen, then this must be fixed. Although the most painful, these are actually the most valuable feelings, for they expose the most debilitating conflicts and beliefs within us. The most important reaction to these feelings is to stay aware of them. As time passes, your successful self-development will reduce situations wherein you will experience negative emotion. As you no longer need to blunt your feelings, your overall sensitivity will raise, turning the volume up on all emotions, since most of them will be positive. As you clear away limiting beliefs, new creative insights will become ever more accessible to you. This is enlightenment and the expansion of consciousness. The largest step in our self-education will be the awareness of our own inconsistencies in thought, word, and deed. It is these inconsistencies that we manage to hide from ourselves with such habitual skill. Once we crack that nut, we will discover a much smoother pattern of spiritual growth. Remember, living in the light means living in spiritual intention, living on purpose towards self-development and expression of your full potential. This is the high road. The low road is the self-preservation a mere shadow of true human potential. This level of existence often serves connective ties in competitive defense, temporarily overcoming an obstacle, but in the long run, further frustrating the spirit's connection needs. This is going to feel somewhat uncomfortable at times, especially when we feel that we are out of step with the reality of the world around us. That which expresses the fear and self-preservationary mentality that permeates the society that we live in. If we can shift from our envelopment with this mentality to a more detached and amusing view of it, we will gain strength from our own perspective. The evening news will no longer manipulate us with its latest concerns, as we will come to enjoy the fiction of so much of it. But the body will defend and self-preserve, and the mind will help it until these understandings are fully internalized. There may be many habitual protective strategies in place to keep bad feelings at bay, but each and every one of them must be dismantled from the spirit to freely speak and do its job. Keep a vigilant guard against ineffective behaviors which compete, stall, excite, and distract, yet do nothing to accomplish your envisioned goals. We are never more alive than when we are in creative mode. To envision something and then bring it into reality, whether it be the remodeling of a basement or the painting of a landscape, it matters little. Creating reality is what we are meant to do. And when our mind and body are harnessed together for this purpose, our spirit sings. The urge to self-preserve is quite powerful and habitual, also arriving in the form of defensive anger, in which blaming or any other skirting of the personal accountability for this situation will occur nearly automatically. The two major directives in such moments are to accept, resist not, your personal role in the situations as reported by spirit, and thus looking within to seek improvements. This is not to say that external ideas which self-efface or denigrate the spirit are to be internalized or tolerated. Let me just breathe a minute because my tongue is getting tied again. And then I'm going to read that line again. The two major directives in such moments are to accept, not resist, your personal role in situations as reported by spirit, and thus looking within to seek improvements. This is not to say that external ideas which self-efface or denigrate the spirit are to be internalized or tolerated. Once you have ruled out that deficits are in your mind, self-expression, even preservation, is essential. The second is to operate from a stance of cooperation, not competition, in which there need not be a loser or blamee. I fully realize that to suggest that putting cooperation over competition as an ideal on the road to spiritual evolution is to fly in the face of conventional wisdom, since we are actually programmed to accept the latter as part of the economic, political, and even social creed. After all, wasn't it communism that finally defaulted? And didn't it fail because it couldn't compete with the other system? Yes and no. The chapter is not finished yet, and spirit would seem to always bring all flawed, non-spiritual belief systems down. Out of two extremes comes progress in moderation. With cooperation, the connection need is always honored. if the connection is one of simple compassion for ignorance of others. A hardy and mature spirit will always seek self-development regardless of how unenlightened the external forces may be. The spirit will sing its pleasure following this higher choice of action. This reward is far greater than any temporary rush from revenge or one-upmanship which may follow vented anger. The former springs from self-development, the latter from self-preservation. We prided ourselves on our civilized behavior following World War II, as our occupying armies helped our defeated enemies recover from the ravages of war. Then came the Vietnam War, and our military conduct became somewhat less than noble. We still tend to take advantage of the weak and less educated in the world. Our self-pride tends to get in the way of our spiritual insight. But the weaker our fellow human beings become, the less strength we are left with to help ourselves. Cooperative acceptance can set the stage for the accurate interpretation of the signal and choosing the appropriate response. The tool of the twin selves can determine if the belief that has frustrated the spirit exists in the realm of mind or body. If the belief is learned of cultural self or mind, then a right response is in order. This is usually when there is an immediate need for self-developmental learning. This happens when mind needs to add skills or ideas to accomplish the need-meeting challenge at hand. This is always the recommended first choice, to look within and seek clarity and improvement. Or instead, the feelings may spring from frustrated need itself, the genetic self or spirit, if the needed skills and ideas already exist, so an external change is necessary. In this case, a light response is in order as an external expression to remove the obstacle. Whichever the chosen response of the two, it is bound to be a spiritually elevating experience, not only for the person making the response, but also for the recipient or the witness as well. The rising ocean of thought raises all the individual ships that float within it, and each contributor to the ocean benefits from the rising. In the simplest terms, if the imbalance springs from mind, development is at hand. If the spirit, expression. Remember the rules. Right first, then light. If obstacles persist, fight. If they still persist, take flight. These simple spiritual directives can guide your daily actions. If even a small percentage of actions are within spiritual intention rather than self-preservation, great progress can be made. There is no need to beat yourself up if you catch yourself making an automatic defensive response. Simply analyze it after the fact and find the belief that allowed this, change it, and the next time the results will be different. Honor yourself instead of this newfound awareness. Honor yourself instead for this newfound awareness. Sometimes we learn new information and elect to start putting it into practice. We judge and grade ourselves on our performance. This material is not the kind that requires one to be tested in the process. Rather, once exposed to it, we begin to alter our behavior in ways that bring positive results to our lives, in ways that eventually become quite noticeable. As you begin to become conscious of your choices and actions, you will open an entire world of self-understanding. You will be able to see exactly why you have achieved certain successes and why others have eluded you. You will begin to notice an incredible tangle of conflicting ideas and directives through which your spirit has been trying to carry out your wishes. With reflection upon your personal history, you will later begin to notice that your beliefs do create your reality. You will also notice how your beliefs have been creating less than desirous events. You may feel awed, even afraid of your power. This, like any other feeling, exposes the limited belief in your powerlessness or your feeling of being unworthy. Which you now have proven to be obsolete. As these limits melt away, you will embrace and delight in your power. Power is a key word here. This is a word that can be an ideal when applied to ourselves. The recognized power to control our thoughts leads to the power to control our destiny. Unlike the power over other people and their lives, this self-recognized power can lead to development of the kind of person that others gravitate toward, not out of fear, but out of hope. You will notice your needs and how you've been meeting them in both constructive and destructive ways. You will begin to become familiar with your own emotional boundaries, expanding those of mind and standing firm in honor of those of spirit. Your progress will rapidly accelerate as you purposely accept your personal accountability for each situation, rather than resist it with denial. Your interactions with others will change dramatically as you realize how much more rewarding cooperation is rather than competition. You will begin to approach the limits of the world with compassion, yet achieve spiritual fulfillment by offering your light. From the Bible comes the words, "Know thyself." Now there is knowledge that can be put toward a very positive cause. Next, I want to speak to you about creating community. Although living in the light is perfectly possible without sharing your newfound approach with anyone at all, finding others of like mind is actually quite rewarding. Some of you call them your soul tribe or your soul family. The synergy of community is very powerful. It is highly recommended to seek others who have chosen enlightenment, cohorts with whom to share experiences, exchange wisdom, and gather support. With even just one close friend with whom to share your experiences, they will become much more meaningful and salient. Family units can set aside particular times to discuss the understandings and the efforts and outcomes at creating desired reality. Establishing focus groups with regular meetings can help build community and build great networks for the light. I should hope that I have planted the seeds within you for these lessons by sharing my knowledge with you. How they fare will undoubtedly depend on the soil in which they land and who will till that soil could truly alter the course of history. With these strategies in place, you can now begin to live within the light and allow life to unfold as your spirit truly desires. So begin now, and you will never be the same again. I can say with honesty that in my own case, this progress is ongoing. The ability to create one's own reality has always existed, and you never stop learning how to do it. It is recognizing that we do it on a regular basis, that takes some extra willingness on our part. As you practice, your world will be affected by your newfound insight. You will discover that these understandings act as a small pebble tossed into a still pond. The implications will ripple outward in concentric circles until they reach the very boundaries of human existence itself. For the implications which logically follow the understanding of human nature impacts every major area of life. It will be necessary to rebuild certain primary understandings to support your expanding consciousness. Thus, we can now turn the discussion to creating new beginnings together. I apologize for my bird's chattiness if it interfered with any of what I was reading for you. I should hope that this resonated with you, and that you're going to apply it and try it and give it your all. And if you have any questions, I welcome them in the comments. If you would like to contact me, my email and website and everything will be in the link in the description box below. Fun side note, I have a new YouTube channel where I'm doing research on Bigfoot, and I just want to make a disclaimer for that I fully believe that Sasquatch, or Sabe as the Native Americans call them, are not an elusive creature at all, but actually another type of human that when we read about them in history, they were called giants. I believe that they are, in fact, the giants of old. And I believe, in fact, that they are much more intelligent than we are being led to believe. So if you want to check out that channel, I'm actually on a mission to prove their existence and prove that they are a type of human, and make sure that they obtain the rights and protections that they deserve to live the way they want to. I also want to emphasize that seeing a Sasquatch face to face, interacting with them, is probably one of the most deeply spiritual things that I've ever experienced in my life. And I feel like they are drawn to me because of my spiritual nature, and because I respect nature and I live in balance with it, and I'm out in nature so often, singing and gathering, living the old ways. And I think that's why they're attracted to me. I think that's why I've been having so much interaction with them. And I am documenting all of that for the new channel. So if any of you are interested in that, please go check that out. It's really quite enjoyable experiences that I've been having recently. And it's not anything like this hokey paranormal kind of stuff, or these TV shows where they're out hooting and hollering and beating on trees and that kind of crap. I don't do all that. I don't do any of that, actually. I leave them books and canned goods and jars of peanut butter inside of Tupperware tubs that animals cannot get in unless they have opposable thumbs. So anyway, that's my side note, that I have that channel if you want to check that out. And that I don't think that this is anything that's beyond my scope of investigation and research, because I'm in the spiritual circles, because I feel that they are very much spiritual, and probably more spiritual and more enlightened than many humans that I know, to be honest. Um, I think they're beautiful souls, and I don't know, maybe maybe they throw stuff at people to run them out of the woods because they feel like they feel their energy and they don't like their energy vibration. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Just my guess, you know. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Um, I hope it resonated with you and that you could hear all of it and understand it, since I'm already having several complications with videos recently. That's, I guess, partially we could blame on Mercury retrograde, along with my tongue-tied business. And my little birds back here, my little love birds that love to talk. So I hope that you got something out of the video with all of the distraction. And I love you. Be well, be blessed, and I'll see you again soon.